What's up, fam? Matthew Sewell, your real estate plug, and today we're in Oakland. We're gonna slide to Berkeley, go check out this spot that I think we're gonna bring under our management. It's gonna be a midterm play for us, maybe a little mix of short term, but yeah, midterm situation. I'm gonna pick up my brother, and we're gonna hop in the car, cruise up to Berkeley. I'm gonna throw on some tunes for you. And by the way, this is a 360 video, so feel free to scroll around with your finger or use your phone to view anything and everything. And speaking of anything and everything, if you have any questions on anything you've seen or wanna see, do not hesitate to let me know. And before we jump in the car, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, all right? Holla at your boy. Let's go.
Showtime, everybody! Showtime!
All right, so we're almost there. So there's a couple of things that I want to go over with you to make sure that you're fully informed and things that you can keep your eyes out for when you're looking to rent something, whether or not you own the building, whether or not you're employing a short, mid, or long-term strategy. All right, so I told you that we're gonna do a midterm strategy here with a little bit of short-term in between, because sometimes there's gaps in the reservations and you wanna make sure your bases are covered. All right, so the first thing is gonna be market and demand analysis. How much sense does this make? What kind of area is it, right? Is there a lot of tourism? Are there a lot of business travelers? Who's coming and how long will they be staying? What will their occupancy look like, right? What are your vacancy rates? Is this a place where people are gonna be coming to seasonally? Is it busy year round? and how much competition is there, right? So if you're, going to be on a short or midterm platform, right? What does the competition look like on said platform? Airbnb, everybody knows this one, so I would get on Airbnb and check and see, how many rentals there are in your space, right? And how much their pricing is at. But these things are all super important. Also, number 2 is going to be legal and regulatory compliance, right? What do the short-term rental laws look like? Are you in San Francisco where they've made it almost impossible to do a short-term rental, right? If you live in the house, the rules are a little bit different. If you got questions on that, I'll probably link a document somewhere at some point. I've written it out. It exists. I just have to link it. So, but yeah, San Francisco, it's incredibly difficult and damn near impossible to do a short-term rental. Midterm you can absolutely do, but short-term is damn near impossible. And it's only for a specific amount of time. Now, do people do their own thing? Yeah, of course they do. But that's not encouraging you to do that. Also, licensing and permits. Do you live in an HOA building, right? Can you even do what you want to do there? Now, I've got a bunch of reasons why I don't really like condos, and the HOA docs, the CCNRs, are usually a reason why, right? Sometimes they say, hey, this is an HOA and you can't do anything less than 28 days. And this is actually how I got my start in the short-term / midterm market. Yeah, and no matter how you're doing this, unless you own the property, right? If you've got a lease, you're gonna wanna make sure that everybody's on board, right? You don't wanna do anything that's gonna piss people off or that's against your lease agreement, because that's the quickest way to get evicted and not get no type of revenue, right? So a lot of leases are gonna have subletting clauses, right? That they do not allow tenants to sublease, and that's for good reason. So yeah, make sure that you're good to do that. It's also really good to have your landlord's approval, because you don't want them to be, upset at you and make it difficult for you to live there. And then if you have the landlord's approval and they want to partner with you, right? Depending on how many units, this could make a lot of sense. So maybe you want to have a profit sharing agreement set up with them. And speaking of profit, right? What do your finances look like? How much sense does this make? Literally, is this pragmatic? What's your rent going to look like versus your revenue, right? How much are utilities expected to cost and your internet? How much is it going to cost you to get your furniture and your setup costs, right? Are you going to do it yourself? Does it make sense for you to do it? Are you going to have a handyman do it? What are your plans? You're going to hire somebody off TaskRabbit? And I hope you have your cleaning and maintenance figured out, right? So these are a number of things that you need to keep in mind when you're, looking at the viability of a unit. Also, property features and guest experience, right? Location is super important. That might be the most important, aside from, the features of the property. Whoa! Speaking of location, that man is in a bad location. Yo, what are you doing, bro? Get out of here. Anyways, what are your thoughts on pets, right? Are you allergic? It's definitely something to consider. I think there's a bigger chance for revenue when you do allow pets, because not everywhere is pet friendly. And, if you can cater to that, people will be more apt and be more excited about staying in your space. So that's something to consider. Not to mention, there's rules that, if it's a service animal, you can't deny people from renting if they have a service animal. So that's a benefit. So you learned that from me if you didn't hear before. So yeah, definitely property features and your guest experience is extremely important. So anything that I agree to do that we're going to put our stamp on, it's extremely important that we stay there and that we experience the place so we know what guests can expect. And we can either mitigate the risks or shout out all of the conveniences that the property allows or provides. So those things are super important. I already said competition. So it's a real good idea. We actually use AirDNA to scope out areas before we commit to something. But you want to know what the comparable listings look like, what you're expected to make in rents, and just based on what we found, we should do pretty well on this one. I'm kind of excited. Actually, I'm really excited because I've been wanting to get into Berkeley for a minute. So, this will be fun. Also, what kind of strategy you're going to do for pricing. There's a number of pricing models, right? People use dynamic pricing, which is something that I employ. There's, a few different softwares, and we're not going to get into the details of that. But if you have questions on those, don't hesitate to shoot me a message or leave me a comment, and I'll respond accordingly. But yeah, there's a number of dynamic pricing tools that you can use. And review quality and ranking factors, right? So see what other people are doing and what their reviews look like, because you don't want to reinvent the wheel. If something's work, it's best to just replicate that. I mean, definitely put your personality and your flavor on it, but if it's working, don't break it. Also, screening and house rules. How are you gonna, what are you gonna do? What are your house rules gonna be? What can guests expect when they get there, right? Isn't it a noisy area? Is it, do you think people are gonna treat it like a party home? Are you gonna put, decibel monitors in there to make sure that people are being respectful of, if there's shared units, if they're being respectful of the other neighbors, these are things that you have to think of. And what your exit strategy is gonna be, right? How long do you plan on being in here? Is it a seasonal thing? Is this a play that you're gonna run into, that you're gonna run for, 10 years? I just met somebody who had been running an Airbnb for like 9 years, and unfortunately they're closing up because it doesn't make sense. But in the world of investing, a lot of times it makes sense to reevaluate your portfolio every so often and see what's serving you and what's not. And if it's not, just like Macy's or In-N-Out, they're closing, right? So not everything is going to make sense all the time forever. So it's best to reevaluate when the time calls for it. You really want to put yourself in, your potential guests' shoes and recount all of your experiences from checking into places, right? So you can, see how a guest would feel when they, visit your space, and try to get ahead of, potential complaints or, things that people might have to say. Here we sped it up, but, you really want to put yourself in the guest's shoes, right? What do they feel? What do they see when they pull up, right? Are they going to complain about any of this stuff? Are they going to be happy? If there's a bunch of stairs, right? You might be eliminating, a section of the market from people that can stay, right? We employ smart locks, so obviously these locks got to get changed. It's a pretty straightforward kind of property. There's a window. It's got a lot of natural light. We're probably going to change out these curtains, and it's got a heater. Here in the Bay Area, places don't typically have AC, so you want to make sure that people are comfortable. So we're probably going to do a couple little fans or ceiling fans or something. We'll figure it out. But we have a list of things that we typically employ. Obviously, it's a kitchen. It's a blank. This is blank for us. So you got to do the kitchenware, the silverware. You're going to want to do the dining room, literally the whole thing. You got to put this thing together, and how well you put it together is going to be how well it's received. We typically have a 3-stage process. In our 3-stage process, we typically start with essentials first, right? So, smart locks, landscaping, living room stuff, right? Sofa, coffee table, smart TVs, when it makes sense. Dining room, kitchen appliances, bedrooms, right? People need to be able to sleep. They want to be able to sleep in bed. So, basically all the essentials, right? Then the next stage is the enhancements, right? So security and smart home features. We typically employ the smart locks from the very first thing, right? Because typically guests want to be left alone, and it's easy. And Airbnb has made it really easy with their smart locks and their connectivity to where, there's a feature that you can have the passwords changed automatically on the start and end date, right? So, these things, we just want to make it as easy as possible, as efficient as possible, to reduce the amount of time that we have to spend on doing these things. So yeah, stage 2 is enhancements, right? Dining room, living room enhancements, luxury doormats, planters, flowers, plants, all types of things. Maybe we can upgrade the kitchen appliances. And then the last stage is luxury additions. So we can do, blinds, garage door openers, smart speakers, patio sets, paintings, things of that nature. So we typically employ a 3-stage process, starting with very lean, right? Just starting with the essentials. The next thing is going to be, enhancements, and the last thing is going to be, luxury items. So, we do all that just in case. A lot of times we work with property owners and doing this management, right? They don't maybe have a lot of money to spend up front, right? So, hey, these are the things that you need to do to get up and running and start making money. And then after you start making some money, then, you can move on to stage 2. And then stage 3 being the last and final stage. So, right now we are gonna head downstairs. There's a backyard area that we need to plan out. So, my thoughts are gonna be to put a patio set back there. So, let's walk on back there. We're gonna clean all this stuff up. Like literally there's stuff on the ground, and this is, part of people's experience. So we have to account for all of those things. And, there's very obviously things that need to be, removed, things that need to be maintained. So we're definitely going to hire a landscaper, depending on how much time we have. I might mess around and do it the first time and then just hire somebody to do the maintenance, because your boy is pretty handy with the steel, if you know what I mean. You got to earn your keep. By steel, I mean lawnmower and hedgers. So, depending on my timing, I might do that. But yeah, we're going to set up like a little patio set out here, make it real nice and comfortable for people to hang out. I think I even have a heat lamp that I can put out here, which would be really nice. So, we'll see. But, employing the 3-stage process, just taking all things into consideration and making it as comfortable as possible for our guests. We want to wow them, right? We want 5-star reviews. It'd be nice if we get 6-star reviews, but, we want 5-star reviews. And this place does have laundry on site, which is super convenient. People, typically pay for convenience. And being that these are paid machines, I'm not too sure what I'm going to do here. I'll probably leave some quarters just to get people started. It would be nice if I could upgrade these to where it's an app. This is a little outdated, but this building has had long-term tenants for quite some time, and that's a good way to make some additional income, is by having your paid machines. So I know you see those the garbage cans, right? Those got to be taken into consideration, right? People are typically staying for weeks, months on end. So what are the rules, right? Those got to be in the house rules. Hey, garbage gets taken out on these days. Be mindful. Don't make us take out your garbage for you. Just be mindful of the space. And the most important thing in the hospitality game is setting and managing expectations. So yeah, that's what it's all about, getting ahead of things before, somebody complains about it, because I've definitely been there and done that, and I don't like it. I want guests to feel at home and feel comfortable and confident in the decisions that they've made, with us, and it means a lot for people to trust us, right, with where they lay their head, right? So, definitely want to take care of our people. We'll continue to take care of our guests and the landlords we serve. So, those are just some things to keep in mind when you're, getting started or looking to get started, or you have a property and you want to know what you should do, right? I really do a good job. I think, not to pat myself on the back or toot my own horn, but, I've been in a unique position for a while and have traveled quite a few places, and actually have almost exclusively stayed in Airbnbs, but I've stayed in a number of resorts, all inclusive and otherwise. But I believe I have a good grasp on what it takes to make someone happy. The name of our company is Pragmatic Solutions for a reason. So it just, some things just make sense, and wanting to provide the best experience possible, sometimes you gotta go above and beyond, and having a template for things makes it super easy. So those are some things to keep in mind when you're setting up or enhancing a space. And if you have any questions, at any time, don't hesitate to reach out. I am here with you and for you. And my phone number's been popping up on the screen this entire time, so make use of it. Don't hesitate to give me a call, shoot me a text, or if you want to slide in my DMs, or comment here. I'm happy to connect and be of service however I can. All right, so I'm gonna turn the music back up and enjoy the ride, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, peace.
It's like that in a hieroglyphics, yeah. 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 It's like that in a hieroglyphics, yeah.
Pyro, y'all. It's not a wrong thing to be addicted to the microphone like a heroin fiend. I'll tell you one thing, you never catch me fronting as I proceed to give the people what they want. You making some green, but not for glamour or fashion. I'm stacking cash until I can get moms a mansion. All from rapping. Nah, man, there's many plans like investing in land. It started all from impressing the fans with brand new flow. And you know, all the way from gangster clones to weirdos, fools use those. But we ain't tripping, give respect when you see this. You need us or your rap's underdeveloped like a fetus.
Those that know not those, and it shows when we broke out the knock holes, hopped out they clothes. That's positive feedback. Yup, the pros are poised, we never pose. You'll never know. From 93 till infinity, we've been inventive. Creating the bump is our only incentive, and it's been a long time since I feel I've been felt. But the only thing I fear is fear itself. So you know what we got to do? Maybe could we keep it within the groove like it should be? Never giving out, we living out our dreams. If it's something I can't live without, that's my team. You never knew.
Hieroglyphics, hip hop is vintage, underground like silos, launching long range ballistics. World renowned, we groundbreaking, musical boundaries, running circles around them cities.
It's like that in a hieroglyphics, yeah. 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 It's like
Yeah, been rhyming for more than a decade. On to the next day, while MCs need aid. Stay paid, I'm still great. Hey, none of that tomfoolery. As you can see, this shit ain't nothing new to me. Utterly hovering over other things material. You stuck in the here and now, but you're sweating profusely. Here's a towel. Your fears are now reality. When I take your dream states and elaborate on how your team's fake. Like phony IDs, but sometimes I feel like only I see through the charade you made in today. Hey, tomorrow is played, and then they got a new fool in your place to be okay.
Hieroglyphics, hip-hop is vintage, invented in days back, rekindling ways that many thought was lost. In this contemporary maze of methods to floss, we finding trees and trails to blaze, boundaries to cross. We can be found beyond the bounds of reason, or earthbound, heating up the Coliseum.
They rush the stage full throttle in Chicago. Our brains interlock. We're faking MCs get caught with the 40 bottle, or get they change snatched pronto. We unstoppable, dropping flows in Toronto, maneuvering through Vancouver and on to Japan, where they put major brands in my hand. Follow.
Straight from the heart, we set apart from the rest. Our perfection on the microphone was predestined. World renowned, we groundbreaking, musical boundaries, running circles around them. See.